late models tonight in Music City. The Nashville Fairgrounds host the 10th race of our fun little Monday night series here, the Xtreme series. And Austin Purnell, as always, at the front, is going to get us kicked off. 3-2 starts the race. Ryan Pittman to his outside. Great start for the 32 of Austin Purnell. Ryan Pittman 4/10 behind him, and then Dustin Painter sits in the third position in that 6-5. From Saskatchewan, Canadian Brennan Forseal in that fourth position. Anthony Cordray running in fifth. Dila in the 8-0 trying to get around Cordray in that 14C. They almost made contact, but he makes it through peacefully. Pittman just went purple, 17.91. Let's go on board with him. Purnell behind him, just dragging Pittman along. Dustin Painter sitting in third. I think he's still the points leader coming into this round here, and he is. Painter with 375, and then Anthony Cordray with 297. Cordray just consistent. Just been running the whole season. He's up there in points. Ryan Pittman sits in third, and then Austin Purnell running a part-time season with 4 wins. Currently leading this race, trying to make it 5. But for Painter's 2 wins, which he earned, credit to him, and Austin Purnell's part-time season, this might not have been such a comfortable lead for Dustin Painter. I think it's 3 or 4 more races left in this season. Painter leading by what, 78 points? And comfortably running in third with nothing to lose. Anthony Cordray running stone dead last, as is tradition for the 14C. But he still tries. I mean, he's second in points. Give it to him. He's consistent. He's second in points. You know, he's making the point system work for him. That counts for something. But, I mean, hey, you gotta love a fighting spirit. Cordray's always there at the end of the race. He doesn't give up. Hand it to him. His effort is there. Brennan Forseal, on the other hand. No, I'm not going to... Forseal makes... I'm not going to mess with Brennan Forseal, talking about he makes no effort. He makes a great effort week after week. I mean, he's hanging on with the points leader right now. So when he can race, he does. And we do love seeing some international representation among the ARCS series. And how many nations have been... If you followed ARCS before, you would know we have a lot of nations represented in this league, but as far as North America goes, we're primarily, you know, most of our members are. Obviously the United States. Brennan Forseal is not the only Canadian that's running ARCS as well. If you all remember to the Xbox days, if you know. I guess the Caribbean counts as the Dominican Republic. We've had drivers represented from the Dominican Republic, drivers from the Bahamas, drivers from Puerto Rico. And then we've had drivers from Mexico. And as far as the other side of the planet, I'm not entirely sure. Dustin Painter says he wants to show off his American flags, but not for the reasons he wants to show them off. He took a big chunk out of the left front of the car. Let's see what just happened to Painter. Oh, he just got loose off of turn 2 and it bit him. On board with Forseal. Caution's out. Anthony Cordray had a crash on lap 15. Check this out. Oh, Mark Dila gets loose out of turn number 2. Nowhere for the 14C to go. And Cordray takes a big chunk out of the wall. Let's go on board with Tony C. See what this is like from Mark Dila's point of view. And oddly enough, Dila the catalyst to that accident, and he gets the best of it. Anthony Cordray probably going to have to use a fast repair. He's sitting in the 6th position, so Austin Purnell comfortably out front in the 3-2, so we're going to take a short break. We're going to let them do the same. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be back in 60 seconds with more late models. Lights are still on top of the pace car. Austin Purnell leads the field. Ryan Pittman sits behind him. Let's see if we can bother the 3-2. Let's try to shake him up a bit. Maybe we can get him to wreck and somebody else can lead this race for once. Austin Purnell, Rick James up top. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, buddy, we're going to try and shake you loose so you wreck and maybe somebody else can win a race for once. You're going into 5 wins if you can get the checkered flag tonight. Pittman's holding on, though. I mean, do you have any sort of strategy for the next 30 laps before the halfway point? Or are you just going to ride it out?
I'll probably just ride it out. I mean, I will try to stay in the front, but we'll see. If he pushes me hard, then I'll just have to drive it harder, I guess.
All right, we're going to go, we're going to stick with you here as you go green, bud. About this bump in turns 1 and 2, I was driving it earlier around. I was just messing on the track, trying to get a feel, you know, with what's going on. And you can see your car shake when you go over that bump. How hard is that when we're talking about trying to keep a straight line on the track?
Yeah, it can definitely catch you off guard. For me, it seems like every time I hit the bump, the car wants to push up the track, but you just kind of got to be ready to already counter steer for it.
Trying it myself, countersteer was definitely the word. You had to feel the bump and almost anticipate what the car's going to do, which is pretty hard by the looks of it. And then Pittman, obviously, it looks like he's getting closer there, probably because we're distracting you. But at the same time there, as you give it a little shake out of the corner, is the track going to get grippier? What are the tires going to do as the race goes on?
Tire fall off it's pretty bad here, so I ain't sure how. I didn't look at the weather acceleration on here, so if it gets darker though, it'll get more. It'll get more grip. But if the sun don't, if it stays at sunset like this, it's just gonna stay quick.
All right, man, we're going to let you get to work here so we don't actually wreck you, man. But it's been a good show so far. Hopefully we talk to you at the end of the race.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if I'm actually distracting him from doing a good job, but we 3-2 on the outside of the 0-8, and he's really just trying to hold off Pittman. And you've got ARCS veteran Cody Pennell in the chat saying, classic Rick James timing on the interview. Now, that's very true. I do suck at timing these things. But Austin Purnell has won 4 races this season, so I told him, first thing I said to him was, we're going to try and distract you. Maybe you'll spin out and let somebody else win for a change. And it almost worked, right? We did get him side by side with the 08 of Pittman. I honestly, I would have felt terrible if they came together and they wrecked him. Like, let me actually end this and let the man concentrate. And as soon as I end the interview, Austin Purnell jumps out to a half-second lead. How about that? Maybe we do need to distract him a little bit more. Ryan Pittman in that Johnny Benson livery. Shout out to the 616. Shout out to everybody on the west side. Shout out to JB. And everybody down at the Berlin Raceway. Anthony Cordray was part of that first crash on lap number 15. Let's see what happened to him. With Mark Dila. Cordray behind Dila, 1/4 of a second the difference. Austin Purnell in that 3-2. Just ahead of Ryan Pittman in that 0-8. I say just ahead, I mean he's extending that lead. It is 0.6 of a second now. If you're interested in the NBA playoffs. In the East, Pacers up 5 on the Knicks at the end of the third quarter. And in the hockey playoffs, it's still scoreless between Boston and Florida. Just over 10 minutes to go. In second, and Austin Purnell, still 0.6 ahead of Ryan Pittman. Anthony Cordray now trailing Mark Dila again. The last time these two got close, it ended up with a yellow. We are 14, soon to be 13 laps away from the halfway break, and the 14C continues to follow. Looking at the rest of these MLB scores here, looks like the Brewers and the Royals only 1 run apart with just an inning to go. KC up 3-2 on Milwaukee. You've got the Cubs and the Padres, and the Cubs really not looking up to it right now. 6-0 San Diego, bottom of the 6th. Mariners and Twins tied at 1. Mets and Cardinals tied at 3 in the bottom of the 7th and the top of the 7th, respectively. Phillies beat the Giants 6-1. Pirates beat the Angels 4-1. Rays over the White Sox by 6 runs, 8-2 the final score. Rangers and A's play at, 9:40, so 10 minutes. You know, there's a really interesting story, and I don't know all of it, but I just know the bare bones of it with the Oakland Athletics and that stadium that's going away. I read a comment on Reddit that said it was, baseball's last great dive bar or something to that effect. And it makes sense if you've seen pictures of this place. It's, it genuinely kind of just looks like the old school coliseums that you'd see in the 80s and 90s. Just these giant concrete cathedrals to sport, you know, and the Raiders played there for a while, and then obviously the A's still play there now. And what's this? The A's are going to be moved, I think. I don't watch a lot of baseball, so somebody who knows more than me can fill me in. But I think Oakland's team is, they're either going to be, the owner is threatening to move, or they're doing something. Going to Las Vegas or something like that, I think. I have no idea. Works for the Golden Knights. We'll see. And speaking of Sportstown losing their franchises as we have 8 laps to go in the stage here, what is it? Arizona is losing their hockey team as well, or lost their hockey team. They didn't make it to the playoffs, so I think the Coyotes played their last home game a while back. And somebody told me what's happening with that franchise, too. I'm unsure. Anthony Cordray trying to work over Mark Dila here. Let me stop yapping for at least 2 minutes, and let's hear these race cars go around. Four-tenths the difference now. We were just on board with Mark Dila as he decided to just smack the outside of the wall. Half a second the difference between Austin Purnell and Ryan Pittman. This constant has remained as Purnell completes lap number 49. Pittman in second for Seal in the third position. Mark Dila on the outside. He's going to grab some more wall as Anthony Cordray gets to the inside right before the caution comes out. So the 14C gets the upper hand on car number 80. Drivers are going to take a short break, and we are going to do the same. So let's see. Grab yourself a snack, grab yourself a zesty beverage, and we'll be back in 2 minutes with more late models from the Fairgrounds. Lights are off atop the pace car, and in what is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my entire life, Anthony Cordray does not come down pit road. While everybody else pitted on lap 51, this brave soul decided not to come in since his pit stop on lap 15. Starting on the outside with control of the field and tires older than dirt, Anthony Cordray leads us to green. Anthony Cordray has lost the lead. I'm looking at the timestamps right now between the green flag and Anthony Cordray getting passed for P1. And this is not a word of a lie. It was approximately 8 seconds. Ryan Pittman went purple, 17:79. And Pittman officially has the fastest lap here. Turn on the telemetry. By 5/1000ths of a second, Pittman had the fastest lap. But now Purnell decides to put in his personal best, 17:73. He goes purple, quickest lap on lap 58. On board with Ryan Pittman. It's not a consistent, one driver's pulling away from the other. It's still 6/10, and you just saw there that last time around, sometimes it's a difference of thousandths of a second. Dustin Painter, the pride of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, trying to hold off Saskatoon, Saskatchewan's Brennan Forseal. Obviously, the sensible thing to do for people from Saskatchewan is to call themselves Saskatchewans. But I think there's a real missed opportunity there. They could have called themselves Saskatchewanians. Ooh, what about the Saskatchewese? That's fun. But, they went the safe route. They went Saskatchewans, but Saskatchewanians would have been great. Just saying. And the Saskatchewan driver following the North Carolinian to the tune of 1/4 of a second out of that second corner. 6.5 on top of the 8.2 now. Ryan Pittman losing the battle to Austin Purnell. 66 laps complete, quickly approaching 31 laps to go. Brennan Forseal still diligently following. Anthony Cordray ahead of Mark Dila by 18 seconds. Cordray in 5th, Dila in 6th. 1 lap off the pace. Painter still in charge as far as 3rd place is concerned. Let's go on board with the 6.5. quickly approaching 25 to go. Still 0.3 of a second the gap, and 1 second and counting is the difference for the 3-2 of Austin Purnell. He's just making it less and less likely for a comeback at this point, but can you blame him? 4 wins this season. He's going for a 5th. And hey, you can't hate a winner. You really can't. But he's also got, what, 25, 26 more laps to screw it up, and he might just wreck. He won't, but it's possible. Ryan Bittman still has to chase. He's got to give it everything he's got. Brendan Forsythe is absolutely going to burn the life out of the tires trying to chase down the North Carolinian, all for a bronze medal, but that's racing. That's why you love it. It is just that pure competition that you absolutely adore. That's why we're here. A quarter left to play. On board with the 3-2. .2 is all that remains with 22 laps to go. Brendan Forsythe inches closer to Painter's rear end, and he can smell the back of the Smith & Wesson 6.5. But what's he got for him? 2-0 to go next time, and then it's going to be 1-9 at the line. 8-2 following the 6.5. Mark Dila and Anthony Cordray still separated by 15 seconds out on the racetrack. Dustin Painter in the 6.5 holding off Forsythe in 4th. And if you just tuned in, you missed one crash back on lap 15. Anthony Cordray and Mark Dila got together. Dustin Painter also had an incident on lap number 15. One lap prior to that. And now Dustin Painter trying to just stay on the podium. 17 to go. This time by 1 second between the top two. And over the last 5 laps, Austin Purnell not so consistent against the 08 of Pittman. Still work to do to claim win number 5 this season. Fans at home, the sim racing does not stop. Thursday night, Thunder will be at it this Thursday night. 3 races to go in the season. The Las Vegas Motor Speedway will be host to round number 14, 8:40 p.m. right here, Rick James TV. And a quarter of a second still the gap between Purnell and Forsythe. 15 laps to go. What now? 14 laps to go, and then lucky number 13 on the clock. Only a half-mile racetrack here at the Nashville Fairgrounds. It's a short 59-mile sprint tonight. Drivers could probably go 90 laps if there wasn't a halfway break, but there is, and that's okay. They did start racing here since the early 1900s. As a matter of fact, drivers that raced in the Indianapolis 500 would bring their cars here to race as well. And it hosted one cup race each year between 1958 and 1984. A lot of history at this racetrack. 11 circuits remain, this time by 2/10 the gap. And still a quarter of a second. 1-0 to go, and then it's 9 at the line. Is there anything left in Brennan Forseel's car? Six to go in the final podium place up for grabs. Dustin Painter has an extremely comfortable points lead coming into this race, but Brennan Forseel wants to get every last point he can, and can you blame him? There's 5 laps to go in this race. He's chasing down that 6-5 hard. A third of a second is all that sits between them. Austin Purnell leading Ryan Pittman by 1 second with 4 to go next time. One lonely mile is all that remains for Austin Purnell to claim win number 5. Ryan Pittman in second is going to give it everything he's got, but just 1 1/3 seconds at this stage of the race with half a mile to go. Very unlikely. Painter half a second ahead of Canadian Brennan Forseel. Forseel looks like he might have used everything up, but he's got just one more chance to get on the podium. Austin Purnell will collect win number 5 this season, an outstanding achievement for the part-timer. Pittman in second, and Dustin Painter will hold on for 3rd place. And a very, very impressive 5th win for this guy right here, Austin Purnell. So we're going to collect Purnell, Pittman, and Painter. And we're going to talk to the top 3 in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. On the podium with our top three, with the pride of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and extends his point lead even further. Dustin Painter, you had an awesome battle with Brendan Forseal. What was it, the last 30 laps of that race?
Yeah, it was. It was fun. It seemed like I was actually really fast at the end. Started noticing that I was pulling away from him. I thought he was going to catch me. Then I could kind of see Pittman a little bit. It felt like I was gaining a little bit, but it was way too much.
Stafford next week, and your point lead just keeps on growing, man. I think we might even be talking about clinching by next Monday night, but regardless, it's been a blast, man. We'll see you in a week's time.
All right, thank you.
Ryan Pittman in the silver medal slot behind Austin Purnell. RP, what more did you need? I mean, that guy, he was close for a second, but Purnell in style just took off.
I needed a right front tire is what I needed. No, Austin is just one of those guys that every time you go out there, he's certainly going to be somebody you're going to have to compete with for sure. Dude's just good. But yeah, I just need to do a little bit better on like trying to save that right front tire. I know that he was running maybe a little bit higher going into the corners, and that might have helped a little bit keeping him from like getting so loose. But I was able to get, I felt like such a good run off of four, trying to stay low and trying to open up the wheel straight up off the corner. But yeah, it just comes down to Austin's good. Hard to beat.
Let's talk to that guy, Austin Purnell, 5th win this season. I think by now people are getting bored of that, but the points battle that you're putting up for the podium position is pretty good. Headed into next week's race, you are only 6 points behind Ryan Pittman going into Stafford. Are we going to see you next week and try and get third?
Yeah, I plan on being there next week. Yeah, but as far as tonight went, I mean, yeah, we kind of just, I would say, we kind of controlled the race and stayed the right front a little bit. And towards the end of the race, it kind of just took off. Just might as well see what it had.
I mean, going into next week at Stafford, you're looking to get your 6th win this season. The rest of the ARCS community definitely wondering, hoping that, some are hoping that your Sundays and Thursdays are going to free up. Some are hoping they don't because they want to contain this dominance to Monday night. But hopefully we see you next Monday night, and who knows, we might be talking to you for a 6th win. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for doing the broadcast.
5 wins in the book for Austin Purnell. So if you don't know by now, you sure do. Or if you haven't known by now, you do. Stafford Motor Speedway is going to be where we're at next week, but if you can't wait until then, I certainly can't. That's why we do Thursdays. The Gen 4 cars coming to iRacing's Las Vegas Motor Speedway in, 2 nights? 3 nights? Thursday, 8:40, right here. Rick James TV. The points are tied. 520 markers apiece between Jacob Prince and Toby Estes with 3 races to go in the season. And until that next race, everybody please stay safe, take care.